Welcome back to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. I'm Steven, and tonight, whenever the heck you're watching this, we are getting into both Delbac Classic as well as Delbac Dorado whiskey. Both of these bottles that I'm getting into today, which I'm super excited for, are local Arizona single malt whiskeys. They're both made in that traditional style / process of making a single malt from, Scotland. So they're both 100% malt barley, not falling like that, like at least 51% rule that is legally needed for the US. They are both aged and made on site here in Arizona by Delbac. They're both 45% ABV, and one of these, the classic, this is just their normal, like single malt, unpeated, no finishings. It's just, aged here, local in Arizona. Whereas this Dorado is kind of like their Southwest inspired for like a peated Islay Scotch, which it's mesquite smoke. So it's kind of like that, Texas, Arizona, Mesquite, Southwest, New Mexico kind of flair that they're throwing into this. So instead of using peat to smoke it, they're using the local trees, which are mesquite trees. Both of these, they're 45% ABV, and they are roughly around like $45 to $55, depending on where you look. But sadly, at the moment of recording, I believe they're only really local to Arizona. So in order to get some, you probably need someone to get you some, or you need to be in Arizona. And both of these samples were provided to us by Delbac, so we appreciate that, but we will not let that get in the way of our grading in any which way possible. So the first one we're going to get into is going to be the classic, just the non-smoked one, and then we're going to go into the smoked one just because I don't want the smoke to destroy my palate before we get into the classic one. So on the nose of the classic one, let's go. Ooh, that's sweet. Definitely has that like barley, honey, little bit of like a peach going on. Dried apricots. A little bit of like a caramel and brown sugar. Ooh, maybe a blackberry, cherry as well. It's very, very sweet, fruity. Like this reminds me of like almost like a finished Highland single malt. Having Texas whiskey like the Balcones single malts and stuff, I would have expected it to be a little bit more darker and intense, since Arizona and Texas are kind of same, but I'm not getting too much like that aggressive, like dried out fruits in here. It's very sweet, inviting, a little bit of like a tannicky oak, some nice, like there's a slight like dried apricot, but a lot of it's like that cherry, maybe a little bit of like a blackberry, a peach in there, brown sugars, caramels, little oak, and definitely there's obviously that barley note in there, which I think is fantastic. It's not like over well dominating, it's very much so in the background. And I know with some scotches I will get like an overwhelming amount of like that barley note, but this one it's there, but it's like it's very much so in the background, which is really nice because it's allowing those super fruity flavors to kind of pop out, like the sweet fruits, a little bit of like a baking spice in there as well, kind of like a clove and like a black pepper. Overall, really good, really inviting, balanced nose. Let's go ahead and get on the palate. Okay, now the dried fruits are starting to come out. Dried fruit leather, nice like dried apricots all the way. A little bit of like a pear note too. Nice like tannicky oak and just vanilla. Lots of vanilla in there. Mouthfeel really solid. Finish is kind of like very heavy on like a tobacco-y leather note. There we go. Now we're starting to get that like Texas American like in there. Not on the nose. The nose was very inviting, but the palate, it has that little bit of like a bite to it. Leather, brown sugar, black pepper, dried fruits. That's really, really good. It's like nicely balanced because there's like that dried, like leathery fruit note, and then there's like that slightly tannicky oak, but then there's this really nice, like enveloping, like caramel, brown sugar, vanilla note going on in there. Butterscotch that's just fantastic. It just kind of like smooths over everything, and that barley is almost like non-existent on the palate, which is very, very nice because it allows everything to shine through. Yeah, and it finishes into like this nice like leather, black pepper, sweet oak, and like a nice like little like pear note going on in there for me. Overall, I'm a pretty big fan of this non-smoked stuff, which is weird because I'm typically a really, really big fan of peated scotches, but I don't necessarily inherently like love non-peated scotch. I usually like that aggressive bite of the smoke, but this, even though I know, yes, it's obviously not scotch, it's made in that like kind of image. The only thing is it's, you know, here, I'm a really, really big fan of this one so far. Let's go ahead and check out that smoked one. See kind of what's the difference? What is it adding? Is it taking away anything? Let's get on the nose. Ooh, it got kind of briny. Like meaty. Obviously that like nice smoked. It has like a very traditional like Southwest barbecue smoke on it now. Yeah, it got like very like fatty, meaty, kind of like a burnt brisket. A lot more pepper coming through. A little bit of like a grilled pineapple. I'm really digging this nose actually. Yeah, honestly, it reminds me of like a brisket covered in like grilled pineapple at a barbecue. This is a Southwest barbecue, which, you know, me being from Arizona, that's my jam. Like, I love the Southwest barbecue. Yeah, you can definitely tell that like mesquite smokiness. I'm really digging this. Let's go ahead and get on the palate. Ooh. Black pepper. Charred meat. Smokiness. Caramels, vanillas, brown sugars. A little bit of oak. Still that grilled pineapple. I would have thought that grilled pineapple was going to go away, but that's really well balanced too. Definitely aggressive flavors, but like the non-smoked one is very light, delicate. It has a little bit of like that dried fruit, caramels, vanillas, you know, tannicky oak. Where the smoked one, it's very dark and heavy. It's burnt brisket. Oh, it's honestly the classic. It's like a very well done, just like American single malt in my opinion. And obviously I'm from Arizona, and anyone who's watched knows my flavor profile. I kind of like a little bit of like aggressive dark flavors, and this kind of brings that. It's not very light and delicate. I mean, it is delicate compared to the smoked stuff, but like this, it's more like that dried fruits, nice black pepper note, caramels, vanillas. Like it's very well balanced because it has that like dried fruit, that darkness, that pepperiness, but then also like a very nice like brown sugar caramels going on. And then the smoked stuff, it's literally like this dorado, it literally takes all that and then it like throws it into a barbecue pit, burnt brisket, grilled pineapples, all the way. It gets rid of a lot of that like dried fruit, and then it brings in just like a grilled pineapple note. Like it's so wonderful. I like both of these. And like, okay, I'll be honest, like these samples were sent to us from Delbac. I don't really have any like affiliation with them outside of that. I haven't even seen their distillery. I want to at some point, but like my bias is I'm thankful for them to send us stuff, and I'm proud of, Arizona craft whiskey. So I guess that is my bias. But overall, I'm going to say both of these whiskeys, A-. I think they're both really, really well worth it. It's really dependent on what mood you're feeling, because there are times I'm not feeling a smoked single malt, and there are times I'm feeling a smoked single malt. And this Dorado, this is one of a kind. Or, well, I don't know if this is the only like mesquite smoked single malt out there. I'm sure there's more, but this is the only one of this kind that I've ever tried, and this stuff is fantastic. It is so good. And then this classic Delbac, it reminds me of that Balcones Lineage, but I think this is a little bit better. I might have to do a head-to-head with those two, but honestly, I think these are both well worth it. And you bet after this, I'm going to be buying both of these bottles now, because I think they're both absolutely fantastic bottles, and I'm all in. If you are a fan of Scotch or a fan of Texas single malts, and you can get your hands on these, or you can, at least try it in a bar, I say try it. Arizona single malts and Texas single malts are like definitely they're their own category. You can't really compare these to Scotch very well, but I think these overall, fantastic bottles. That's going to be a wrap for this video though. Please do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. Let me know what you guys think about these bottles. Let me know if you guys have any other suggestions of American single malts that you think might be better than these, or if you know of any other like local Arizona single malts that are worth trying out. I think overall these are in the scene of American single malt and craft. I think these are fantastic. I don't know any other craft distillery that can produce a single malt this well. I mean, given I've had very limited craft distillery single malts, but these are still the best I've had. So if you have something that's better, craft single malt, let me know. I'll put it up against these, see what they can do. Also, check out that Instagram, Patreon, Facebook. The link for the Patreon is down there below. Every cent of that goes back into the channel, and it helps us bring you guys better content. So we appreciate you all for all the support you guys bring. Cheers. We'll see you later.